Real Gary Tussey, where we talk about anything and everything that could ever amount to anything or everything to anybody and everybody who ever intends to amount to something. The Gary Tussey effect in the earth. I got a record 6.5 hours of sleep uninterrupted, and I'm bouncing off the walls this morning, baby. So easy to use, it barely felt like you were doing anything wrong. They all seemed like perfectly acceptable methods. The Gary Tussey effect in the earth. I got a record 6.5 hours of sleep uninterrupted, and I'm bouncing off the walls this morning, baby. The Gary Tussey effect in the earth. So easy to use, it barely felt like you were doing anything. They all seemed like perfectly acceptable methods. The Gary Tussey effect in the earth.
Genius loves company.
Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of the Real Gary Tussey podcast. We're actually the Real Gary Tussey morning show, of the which we are simulcasting or dual recording for the Real Gary Tussey podcast. Thanks for being with us today. I'm your host, Real Gary Tussey, and I have my rider by my side, the lovely and talented, effervescent, sitting like a princess, perched in her electric chair, Miss Julie Tussey. Thanks for being with us this morning. What's on your mind?
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Well, when you say perched on her electric chair, I always think of that. Do you remember those fluorescent pink chairs over at Dunkin' Donuts? That's what I think. I need a big pink, hot electric pink chair.
Oh, okay. It won't fit in here, but
no,
it's something to consider for
it
sure.
would fit, but I would be down like really low.
Yeah. Oh, it would? They're down low?
They're pretty low to the floor, yeah.
Oh,
I
see.
They're not high.
I'll have to see these sometime. So
You sat in them. I have pictures. We went there for my birthday, and it was so funny. My birthday's on March the 17th. And we took pictures in the pink chairs, and then when we walked out, there was a big clock, like a digital clock on their sign, and it said 3:17. Do you remember that? It was so funny.
Yeah, because that is your birthday, 3/17.
3/17.
So, yep, so that was fun. So we are simulcasting. We have the Facebook posse with us today, alongside with our podcast posse, and thanks for being with us today. We've been talking about friendship. We're going to continue talking about that today, and in doing so, Julie and I put legs to our friendship reality and made a trip to Texas. We call it our Texpedition. Not a texcavation. I want to say texcavation, as though we went down there to dig holes. No, it is
Pedition.
Like
an expedition.
Like
yes.
an expedition, but it's a texpedition. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. The common theme through that is 3 out of the 4 stops that we made were people that we had not seen. I hadn't seen Terry Johnson in 39 years.
That is Tattooed Terry, the titanium man of God, who he's talking about. If you guys watch on Facebook or listen on the podcast much, you've heard him and you've heard of him.
Right. And
he's a legend.
Yeah, he was with us a whole lot of last year, weekly, actually, on our radio show. So, yeah, that was fun. So we started with him, and then we saw another dear friend of ours who is actually on our board of, what do they call
Directors.
it? Board of Directors
for the
nonprofit organization. Reverend Mike Cates, saw him, and he lives in Louisville. And so we saw him, and
he was a blast. We had a lot of fun with him. Hey, I think my mic's a little... We had a lot of fun with Mike Cates. He took us out. We took a cooler because we're trying to eat clean and eat healthy, right? So we took a cooler everywhere we went across Texas. And Mike would not let me cook. He would not let us. All we lived on was fruits, nuts, and restaurants. Yeah. It was great. I had a blast.
And we were still healthy mostly at the restaurants. As far as I remember,
Oh, very. Yeah.
And one night we had salmon, but most nights we had Mexican because we were way down there where all the Mexican is. So
it was my dream. The Mexican's my favorite food, so it was my dream. I had been in Houston years before, and it was the best Mexican food I ever had in my life. So as soon as we hit Texas, we started going to the restaurants, and oh my goodness, the northern Texans don't cook like the southern Texans.
So we hadn't seen Mike for 20 years. That's the common theme we're talking about at every stop we made. And we only recently reconnected with our stop in Hondo, west of San Antonio, with Alfonso Vargas. And
Pastors Alfonso and Sheila
now,
there.
Julie goes way back with them. Unlike myself, I've only met them recently. So...
I loved going to see Pastor Alfonso. He's my father. He's been like a dad to me through the years in the ministry and in friendship, and it was so good to see him because we'd been talking for a long time. I guess it'd been about a year. I've actually seen them. I started seeing them 3 or 4 years ago on a regular basis, but between then and the time before, it was many years. So it's all about the friendships, you know. We talk about this on the show, and I don't know what you're going to talk about particularly, but you can remain friends with someone for a very, very long time without even seeing them if you work on your relationship.
Yeah, relationships have to be built. They have to be maintained, and it's easy to let friends slip. So many people have bragged on the fact that they've got only enough friends to count on one hand, and I'm here to challenge you. If you can have 5 friends, you can have 10.
Yeah.
And if you can have 10, you can have 20, and it's very important. The secret to your success and your having actually dynamic success is really based on your acquaintances.
Exactly.
God has always used people, and He's still using people. And if we don't think about this, then it just it doesn't really cross our mind. But there are tremendous benefits to developing friendships that maybe we haven't tapped into. So that's what we're talking about. And part of our putting legs on our reality for the strength and the importance of friendship was our trip to Texas. So.
Yes, and I gave it the hashtag on a mission from God because it was just really cool. Just all of a sudden, you knew we needed to go. I've been wanting to go for 3 years, and it was so fun. So once we left Hondo, then we went to.
Well, wait a minute. We did stuff in Hondo.
Oh, I thought we talked about it on the last podcast. Okay, let's talk about it then.
No, on our last podcast, we talked about how expensive things were at Chip and Joanna's place.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
So on the way, yeah. So, yeah.
And on the way to Hondo, you go through San Antonio, which prior to that, you go through Waco. And I was asking Julie, did we go through Austin or not?
I think we did. I'd have to look at I think I remember seeing signs for Austin, but whether we were, you could have a sign 100 miles away.
Yeah, so we were in the vicinity of Austin, this I know. But
exactly.
Waco was a trip, and of course it was hot. But before they ever opened, Chip and Joanne Gaines, they have a television program that Julie can tell you more about than me, but she seems kind of shy with her words this morning.
It's called Fixer-upper, and it's Joanna Gaines is a interior designer. Her husband is like you, a master carpenter and architect-y guy. So they had this really cool show. I'm sure everyone knows about it. So we saw that, and then we went to Hondo. Let's talk about Hondo. Pastor Alfonso's on. Hi.
Hey, good morning, and good morning, Greg and Lawana and Pastor Alfonso. Thanks for joining us this morning live on the Real Gary Tussey podcast and the greatest morning show ever produced in human history, weekend edition, with our Facebook Live rolling and our Facebook posse hanging in there. Alfonso says we most likely went through
Austin. Okay, I knew I saw signs. I don't remember if I saw the city. I took a lot of videos on my way there, but you talk about fun. When we got to Hondo, they rolled out the red carpet. Didn't they, baby? We were treated so well, and we got to stay with Pastor and Sheila, which is always much more fun than being in a hotel because you can spend so much more time together.
Yeah.
Their church family was amazing, and they're full of character.
Yeah.
There was Papa Don. He was really, really cool. And then there was Papa Jose. So they got some fathers there, some older men and women.
Yeah. And you know, an interesting thing about Pastor Alfonso's church and his work, his congregation really works with him on this, and it's amazing. He's gone a lot because he has to do the evangelistic side. He's never been released from that in his entire ministry, and so when he's gone a lot, I think it's Pastor is it Pastor Adam?
Yep. Pastor. Well, I don't know if he is a pastor. What I loved about it was like Brother Adam, and there was a bunch of younger men, Alvin, that are being trained in the ministry and helping to run the church. It was beautiful. It was amazing to see, and talk about the love. I mean, you could just feel so much love in this church and from the people. And he says on Facebook here that they loved us all. I felt immediately like family. Like I could just go to church there every Sunday, every Wednesday, and be part of the team. And I felt that. Did you feel that, baby doll?
Yeah, it's just a stroke against us. We'd have to leave on Thursday to get there by Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless we pull out the private jet. You know, who's borrowing that right now?
We don't have a private jet. And cause that's funny because one day we will.
We will have a private jet someday, but I always tease and say I used to say I need to call Donald Trump and get our jet back. And now he's the president, so I don't use that joke anymore. Yeah, but yeah, it was great to be with you, Alfonso. We love you so much. My dad, we love you. And Miss Sheila, she is amazing. Did you love Miss Sheila?
I did. Obviously, I did. How can you not?
She has one of those hugs. I don't know if you guys know the difference between hugs with friends, but she has one of those hugs that when she puts her arms around you, you feel like Jesus hugged you or God hugged you. It's like you don't want to let go of her, and you'll just stand there for 3 minutes getting this hug, and everything's better when you're done. So it was great. And
she doesn't let go until you know that you've been hugged. Hey, Therese is on with us.
I love that. Hi, Therese.
Good morning, Therese. Therese is my sister from another mister. Our birthdays are on the same day. I've got a big one coming up in September. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, your big one's coming in. Do you know what? Your big one's coming in September, and my 40th year in ministry is in August. So we're going to have 2 months of gigantic parties. Let's just have a continual party for the entire month of August and September. You want to do that?
So how many years in the ministry for you?
40.
I'm at 43.
You're always 3. He's 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
I'm a baby.
Yeah.
I like to
believe it or not. And we have, up on YouTube, we have... Therese is 5 years older than me.
What?
I would have never guessed it.
Girl, you're gonna have to start not telling on that, because no way, you look 30.
For those of you on the podcast, we're getting feed from our Facebook posse, so we're responding to them as well. So thank you for indulging us as we get through our story here.
So back to the Tax-Expedition. You want to continue talking about or you want to talk about Therese? She's definitely a sister from another mister, because you and her are different, very different, and I love it.
Hey, Therese's ministry birthday is in August, and she's celebrating 35 years.
We need to have one big blowout party, shouldn't we? That would be so fun.
We've been intending to get over there on a Saturday. Therese, is it the first Saturday of the month?
The last
Saturday of the month.
I believe it's the last Saturday of the month.
Well, maybe we can make it this time.
Wow, there's another Saturday coming. Yes.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God for Saturdays, the original Sabbath day. Okay, so we ended up in Hondo.
And we stayed there for a long time. We would have just stayed there. I would have just stayed and stayed and stayed.
Yeah, it was extended. It was extended by a day, I think. Then we targeted. So, but the hospitality was off the chain.
And the church was great, and the cooks in that church. See, I fit right in having a cooking show. They were teaching me how to make salsa, and it was so fun.
Yep. Salsa.
Oh, salsa!
Have you made any since we've been home?
No.
No. Well, let's try to get started.
Let's make some.
I love salsa. We're about out of time on the podcast side, so I want Julie to tell you how to correspond with us. We've got some tremendous product coming up that we're working on. We'll talk about that on the next podcast. And so, Julie, make sure they know how to stay in touch with us.
All right, y'all. The best way to reach out to us is on tusseyonline.com. You can actually go there. You can see videos, listen to music. You can. You're going to be able to find the product there. So you need to put that in your phones and bookmark it, because tusseyonline.com is going to be the happening hub of everything we're doing. You can become a monthly partner of EIP to help support the ministry, to help get the television and the podcasting and the music and the other things that we haven't told you about yet. You can partner there. You can give a one-time offering. You can also sign up on the mailing list, and you can also PM us here on Facebook anytime you want to.
So tell them about YouTube. We got time.
Oh, okay.
Tell them about YouTube and our YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you would, go over to YouTube and just search Tussey Television and subscribe. We're working on Tussey Television. We have 3 programs right now. The Real Gary Tussey Show is a television show, and it's different content than what you get on the podcast. And then the Julie Tussey Show podcast is on, any app that you have. But I also have Julie Tussey Television, where it's going to be different. And then together we're doing something called Impact. And if you've never looked up the word Impact, look it up. It's amazing. It's a powerful word, and I'm very excited for what's going on. We're also going to be doing interviews. So if you have a ministry, you're doing music, there's something you would like to get out to the world and to the people at large, call us, PM us, go on tusseyonline.com and write to us and let us know what you're doing. We'd love to have you in.
Yes, we're out of time for now, and thanks for hanging with us here at the Facebook posse and the podcast posse. We're so delighted you're part of the team. So until next time, this is Real Gary Tussey reminding you to live and let live, be free and set other people free, and by all means, apply a high energy pursuit toward happiness.
gotta see the sign. You gotta see the sign. His body in the grave, else nobody is saved. Oh, but don't you know, you gotta see the sign. Great clothes were left behind. Look around, see the sign. Red light means stop. Green light means go. Oh, but don't you know, you gotta see the sign. You gotta see the sign. Look around, see the sign. His body in the grave, else nobody is saved. Oh, but don't you know, you gotta see the sign.